Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Toiletside Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Lagos, Nigeria. He's worked for such promotions as Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling, Slam Force Africa, Riot Pro Wrestling, Sweetwater Pro Wrestling, and of course on AEW Dark, he's wrestled several times. Shared the ring with likes of the Gun Club, the Best Friends, Eddie Kingston, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, Butcher and Blade, QT Marshall, Sonny Kiss, to name a few. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who could probably destroy me just by making eye contact. I give you Mbadu. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it on this Monday evening. Do you watch like wrestling on Monday nights? Do you follow like, WWE and AEW and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely try to catch everything. Whether it's Elevation, now they have a new Elevation show.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely try and watch. So I definitely try and watch consume as much wrestling as I can. So.
Is it all done by DVR, or do you ever just you don't make it a point to sit down and?
No. I mean, so my training, I usually do my training around in the evening. So I try and work everything around my training, whether I'm in the ring or do my weight training. So I try and work everything around that. So what I'll do, I mean, Elevation is really fairly new, so I haven't really had to. I mean, I usually go back to watch that, and then I have Hulu Plus right now, so I can just kind of watch. Yeah, so I can just go back and watch everything. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You've mentioned it that you've been into a gym before and you've lifted a weight or two.
Right.
Let me just ask you a question. And I think you're a lot younger than I am. And you're in much better shape. I weigh 160 and I'm about 5'10". Okay, I'm 45 years old. Is there any way I could get my body to look like yours? Or is that time past? Like I'm too old to be able to do that?
I don't think anything's impossible. Like I think it's very possible. I think it's just a diet. I've always had a appetite. So whether it was within sports, I was playing sports, or football, basketball, I was training and eating at the same time. So some of it is genetics, but I would say if it's just something that you consciously made, I guess, effort to. Like for me, I've been training consistently for about 10 years now. This is I'm talking about 5 days a week, 6 days a week in the gym. That's whether it was before I was learning to wrestle and afterwards. I've been always work that in. So I mean, if you're dedicated enough, I know people, especially it's hard when we all have work and different jobs and stuff like that. But
yeah,
for you, even then, like it's not impossible at all. No,
if
it's something that you were. I mean, everyone's different though.
So I would have to double what I eat, currently, and then I'd have to work out at 6 days a week to try. I'll never be able to catch up to you, but how much would I have to? Would I have to be taking supplements like powders and stuff?
I mean, if it's something, I think for me, for you, I would, regular supplements, protein, and maybe creatine here and there is pretty much it.
Okay.
Just more added protein. For me, is more, I load up on carbs during the day, and then at night there's more so protein, so shakes and chicken and instead of actual rice. And I have rice a lot and oatmeal in the beginning of the day, but at the end of the day, when I'm trying to, I don't want to eat too many carbs at night, is just chicken and broccoli and stuff like that. So it's just you have to know your body and what you're trying to goal, So So,
Was it
but yeah, there's always a way.
was it difficult for you? Did you have to change, like when you got into like lifting? Did you have to change your diet dramatically and
I,
eat like healthier?
a little bit. Cut out some of the sweets. Cut out
Okay.
some of the sweets that I was eating. Maybe when you're younger, you're a teen, or you're early 20s. I'm in like my mid late 20s now, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to. It's easy, it's harder to maintain every time. Your metabolism gets slower and slower as you get older. So as I got
Okay.
older and started training, I just cut out the sugar, the excess sugar. You have cheat days here and there, but yeah, definitely was a like the junk food really probably what I cut out mostly. But it's just sometimes you have to you have to have a good cheat day now and then. Everyone has a cheat
Sure,
day, no
sure.
matter The Rock has a cheat day, so.
Uh-huh. So you were
So
like an athlete growing
let
up?
that live a little bit, especially this pandemic.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, I played basketball. Yeah, I played basketball and football. Mostly really good at basketball, and I played all through uh, my childhood into high school. I didn't play. The only level I didn't play was college. I did more.
Okay.
I didn't want to. I wanted to play in college for a little bit, but I didn't get a full scholarship. I got a partial scholarship to a place, so I didn't want to. I got an academic scholarship, so I rather
Oh,
went to school fully paid for than partial paid for basketball. So to me, that was the end of my basketball career at
yeah,
high
yeah.
school.
Did you get into lifting in high school? Like,
It,
being part of all those?
it was actually in college I got into lifting. Like college, I really just because I went to the school I went to. They just built a brand new gym, so that was when I really
Oh,
got dedicated. Even when I played football, I wasn't working out, or when I played basketball, I wasn't really lifting. I was just really just doing a lot of obviously basketball, a lot of cardio. So I was doing a lot of cardio. So that was really more concerted effort once I got into college. So definitely
mm-hmm.
something more. Like when I turned 18, I just was turning religiously into the gym, the same schedule, and I would have a meal plan, and it was very easy
Oh,
to eat and
wow.
lift. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. What was your goal for the lifting? Were you like, did you take part in like competitions?
Not at all. Just for me, is honestly, it's being a wrestling fan because it's not like I was into bodybuilding for like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
It was more so I wanted to look like the guys I grew up watching, like Goldberg or Scott Steiner or The Rock.
Yeah.
So it was more so that it's more so those are guys those are my like favorite wrestlers growing up. So to me, I was a fan. That was mostly for me. I was a fan of just how I want to look like The Rock. I want to look like Scott Steiner. I want to look like Goldberg. So for me at that level, I was like, yeah, well, let me just start lifting weights, and it was all for shallow reasons too, because you want to
Sure.
pick up women, and
Oh
so
yeah, totally.
so I won't say especially at that
Yeah,
age, it's really for
absolutely.
shallow reasons. But for me, I was like. But no, really, just really, that's more so. I mean, even before I wanted to be a wrestler, it's more so just wanted to look like at that time The Rock was doing his work, his movies, and he posts his workouts on Instagram. So for me, I just was following his workouts to a T for the better part of a year or two until I got my own workout, and that really helped me a lot. So
Oh wow. Did
yeah,
where did you grow up? Could you hear me?
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No.
Now I can hear you.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up, so I moved around a lot. So I grew up mostly here in America. I was
Mhm.
born here. I moved to Nigeria for about a year or two growing up. I moved back here, and so most of my childhood it was mostly in New Jersey and Florida. That was more where I grew up. So I went to high school in Jersey, then went
Oh,
to
okay.
finish high school in Florida. So I've pretty much been in Florida since high school and went to college in Florida. So just kind of been in Florida for the last 10 to 11 years. So
So you like
yeah,
Florida more than any other place you've lived in?
I do like Florida. Florida, the weather is really good here. Florida feels like home right now. Feels like home right now for me.
Yeah, I bet it'd feel like home to anybody. It's so nice and warm there. Did so
Very nice, very nice.
you went back to Nigeria for just a couple of years. Do you have memories of it still?
Of course, the thing is, for me, my mom, both my parents were first generation Americans in Nigeria. So my
Oh,
siblings, I have three other siblings. We're the first people in America. My parents always every summer we go to Nigeria. So it was almost like growing up in two different worlds because the summers we wouldn't go to Nigeria. My grandma would come here and she wouldn't speak to us in English. So we had to learn. We speak in our culture. We speak Igbo. I'm part of the Igbo tribe, so we speak Igbo. So I grew up mostly during the summers not speaking that much English because of my
oh,
grandma,
wow.
whether she was here or we went there. So my parents made it a point. Both my parents made it a point. They're from the same village in Nigeria. They made it a point for us, especially us older siblings, me and my other sister, for us to know the culture, whether we're here in America, not to be spoiled by quote unquote American values, and because they
Sure.
feel like they have it, especially Nigeria. Yeah, they feel like we should know both parts of the culture. We're in America, but we should know a Nigerian culture, which is why we're really close to our family in Nigeria. So
Sure.
yeah.
So do you still have family there?
Oh, a lot of family. We go even now. We were gonna go. I was gonna go for Christmas. This past Christmas was the pandemic shut it down. So
Sure.
we're gonna go back for this Christmas. So since I was a kid, we used to go back every summer. Now that I'm an adult, I go back every Christmas now. So
Oh, okay.
I should be going back for Christmas. So yeah. So it's family. Family's very well connected there. We have actually most of my family, I would say, is from there, especially my dad's side. Some of the family's there, but mostly my mom's side. I would say 80% of our family is in Nigeria right now.
Your mom must feel pretty like satisfied or proud of the work she did. The fact that what she was trying to pass to you, you're doing the same with your daughter.
Oh no, I don't have any kids, but
Oh, you're so lucky. I thought you said you had a daughter.
oh
Which,
no, hey, no, not that I know
yeah, not, yeah,
not that I
totally.
know of.
Okay, so oh gosh, you're
But
so lucky that you don't have kids. Um,
no, no.
can you say something for me if I give you a sentence? Will you repeat it to me? Well,
Sure.
okay. I want you to say, Brad, you're a big nosed, big eared geek.
No, it's the funny thing about Igbo is it's a dialect. So some words don't have direct translation.
Oh,
So it's
you
mixed with a
throw
lot of
in
English. So
buffoon or whatever word along
so
those lines.
and that means like goof, like
Okay.
uh,
No, don't worry. My wife calls me way
so some
worse in
words
Russian.
yeah, no, it's yeah. There's definitely some terms you can use that are because it's like stuff like geek is not like a word that Nigerians would have a. There's no one would like that's an American, mostly American type of term.
Yeah.
So they'll say other
Any,
words like uh, Brad, all Brad, Ekwensu, yeah, Brad, no, it's Buma. Equins saying that Brad's not a nice person, stuff like that.
oh,
Basically, is what
okay.
it's saying.
That's the stuff my wife says in Russian. That's hilarious. So when did you catch on to? When did wrestling come into like on your radar?
Uh, when I was growing up here, it's funny. Growing up here, my cousins. It's
Uh-huh.
funny. So I have my cousins on my dad's side, and my cousins on my mom's side. Whether they're in Nigeria or in America, both cousins, we all liked wrestling. In Nigeria,
Oh
wrestling
wow.
is such a big thing in Nigeria, a huge thing. I went for Christmas 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I was watching. They have a whole it's not the WW network. It's something. There's a WWE channel there. So they were just.
Okay.
And this is like we're in the middle of like a village in Lagos, which is a big city. They're
Mm.
playing at we're at a I don't know where we're at. We're like at a building and they just have a big screen TV playing wrestling. And everyone I
Oh
was
wow.
watching with another guy that was there. Just it's wrestling is really popular in Nigeria, very very popular. It's been that way for years. So when my cousins used to come back to America, they would know more about wrestling than if I missed 2 weeks of Raw. They would come back and tell me, "Oh, you missed You missed
Oh, wow.
Triple H, beating. So yes, and then growing up here, I had the video games. I had my nanny's baby, so I've had WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy. I had a
No Mercy,
WCW
WCW, and Revenge. I have them both right
Revenge,
here.
Revenge. Yeah, I have one of them. I have my N64 here. I still play.
Me
So
too. Just outside
I'm a
that door is my 64.
That's amazing. No, I'm a wrestling fanatic now from that era. It's just like, and it's just something. It's funny because people had stages where they watched wrestling and they didn't watch wrestling. I always watched wrestling. My sister, who's 2 years younger than me, we've always been wrestling fans. So
Oh,
we
cool.
never went to where we didn't watch wrestling. Yeah, no, it was really really fun. It was really fun.
So do you have a lot you have a lot of memories of watching wrestling with your family?
Oh, very much, a
Oh,
lot.
that's
Even my dad
amazing.
growing up, yeah, my dad liked wrestling growing up. When he came to America, his favorite wrestler was Roddy Piper. So he would always, so my, it's funny because my dad was not like when we started watching. He would say he didn't like it because he thought it was a waste of time. But
Sure.
he said when he was growing up and he grew up here, he loved Roddy Piper, he loved Macho Man, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, that era because he came to
Wow.
America in the '80s. So that's when that's why I guess the big boom in wrestling. So that's what he. So then for us, we grew up in the Attitude Era. So it's The Rock, it's Steve Austin, it's The Undertaker.
So
So
when you go to your parents and say, "Hey, listen, thinking of becoming a pro wrestler," are, what was the reaction?
my mom was very supportive. My mom was very supportive. I think my mom she liked the fact that I was kind of paying homage to our culture. So I think
Sure.
that kind of made it less like scary because Nigerians are very, they're very, I don't know how to use the word. They're very like, they're very into academics, right? So
Okay.
when you go to school, you go to school, become a doctor, you become a lawyer, so it was a very big deal telling my mom I want to do wrestling instead of, uh, doing what I went to or doing other things that she,
Yeah.
maybe would be more, I guess more stylish in Nigerian terms. All my cousins are doctors, my cousins are lawyers,
Oh
so
God, that's a lot of
it's
pressure.
like a very competitive. It's a lot of pressure. So but I think my mom has always thought I was entertaining from the most entertaining one of the family. So
Oh,
she
okay.
kind of gave me the blessing just as long as just as long as I stay relatively safe and don't do come to she knows a lot of some wrestlers, so she doesn't want me to do any mankind
Oh
bumps.
yeah, like big falls.
But
So you're the unique one in your
yeah,
family.
no
There's
mankind bumps.
doctors and stuff, but there's enough doctors. You got a wrestler in your family. That's great.
Yeah,
Did
and I'm definitely the crazy one though.
before I go on, I just thought of something I wanted to ask you. What are the fans like at matches in Nigeria? And I only say that because I talked to this girl the other day, and she was telling me what fans were like in Japan, compared to here. Is there a difference?
I think it would be the same, just different. It would be different, just different faces. Just more. Nigerians are very loud and boisterous. So I know they say
Mm-hmm.
in Japan, they're sometimes This one, Nigeria is not like that at all. They'll be
No.
cheering and, they're getting into the match. It's very very boisterous. I would say it's more so like how more American fans are in terms of it's a lot of noise, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
lot of energy during appreciation, fan participation. Excuse me. And Nigeria is
Sure.
very boisterous.
Okay, so this is post college that you decided you were going to find a trainer.
Yeah, so post college, so I graduated in 2016, 2017. So actually before college, I actually was in 2015 Tough Enough. I did Tough Enough.
Yes.
I did with WWE. I was 21 at the time, 20. I sent a video in. I lived in Jacksonville for college. I was in school, so
Okay.
I got the call to come to the PC, and I was there for 3 days. I think I was the last cut before they started filming
Had you ever been in a wrestling ring?
So, I had never been in a wrestling ring before that. That was 2015, so I had never even. I mean, I thought about wrestling because one thing before that made me want to do wrestling was my neighbor in college where I lived was actually the daughter of Bill DeMott. You know, he used
Oh,
to
okay.
be the coach of the PC.
Sure.
So she knew I was a big wrestling fan. She knew I was a big wrestling fan, and she got her dad to come meet me one time. He gave me his card, and he said, "Oh, you're big, tall, athletic guy. You should try doing wrestling." So that was the first time that I ever planted seed. That was like maybe a year before
Really?
Tough Enough, but that was the first time I ever. Yeah, that was the first time I ever planted seed that I should do
What were you
wrestling.
going
So
to do?
I applied for Tough Enough. I was there.
Say that conversation never happened.
What was in
What
college,
were
right?
you on your way towards?
Well, I've always been into. I was studying communications, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I've always been into. Uh, I've always been to marketing, things like of that nature, where how do
Sure.
people market themselves and this is before really social media. Social media was a thing, so I won't say it wasn't anything to do with social media, but I really wanted to be someone like an image consultant or a someone that would manage a brand for someone else, So
Mm-hmm.
that I was a PR major in college, so I was
Oh, wow.
interning at TV stations. I was doing really well. I was interning at TV stations. Um, I was a part of all these groups. That I think for me, that's a tough enough hit a switch for me, and I started training harder and doing all that stuff. So it was really just one of those things where I shifted gears really quick.
Uh-huh.
So and I didn't tell my mom after. I mean, my mom saw me go to Tough Enough, and she thought it was cute, and she didn't think anything more of it when I came back. But that's in my mind. I want to just do wrestling like after I graduate.
So, what's the next move at this point? Like, how do you find a trainer?
So I do tough. Okay, so so what happens is I do Tough Enough. I finished school, I finished school in December 2016. So so actually what I did was I moved. I didn't know what I was gonna do at that point. At that point, I didn't really. I was thinking whether to come to Orlando or Jacksonville. What I actually did was I went to Nigeria actually for about almost a year. I went to Nigeria for almost a year after graduation. I was thinking maybe I live in Nigeria. So I was there for almost a year living with my cousins. And then I got, when I came back to visit my family permanently, I came back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I actually I didn't text. I emailed Bill DeMont and asked him what's a good wrestling school. And Bill DeMont pointed me to Team 3D with Devon, Bubba, and Billy Gunn was there at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that was August September 2017, and the rest is history. That's when I got hooked. So
did on Tough Enough, was that a positive experience?
It was a great experience. Tough Enough was a great experience. It was different. So for me, I feel like probably at the time I was way over my head. Me and Velveteen were, I think, one of the younger people there, right?
Yeah.
Everyone there was at least, I would say, 6 or 7 years older than the dudes that I thought I was a good big guy. These guys were huge. These guys were like bodybuilders. The traps were on, their traps are just totally. So, and the girls were beautiful. These were like supermodel type women. So this was my first taste of anything showbiz related. So I was in over my head.
Yeah.
I definitely came off as because I was a big fan. So I used to know every stat, everything. I used to know everything. I used to know who was the world champion of this time. I knew every wrestling stat. Wow. So I was there, and I realized I was maybe too much of a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? I wasn't there as a competitor. I was there too much as a kid that was a fan.
Sure.
I was athletic and stuff, but it was I think I was in over my head. But I had a very, very positive experience. I think for me, that's when I realized that because at that point when I got eliminated, because I knew stuff there that were there. Like there were some people there that didn't know anything about wrestling that were there. Like there was a guy there that didn't know. I'm in the PC and there's a poster of Shawn Michaels And the guy next to me asked, "Who is that?" And I said, "That's Shawn Michaels. That's
No.
HBK." And he said, "I don't know who that is." Yeah, he doesn't know who that is. So I'm like, "What? This is?" I was like, "Wow, this is a different experience." So I'm thinking these guys are just, but these are guys that had agents that called the show and all. They all
Okay.
had their arrangement to come on the show. They all had different avenues to come to that show and were invited. So for me, I realized that it is a business, and just because you don't know, like the stuff that I know, or if you're not a fan to the level I'm a fan of at that time, doesn't mean you can't be a star. Because everyone is marketing a different way. There's people that have that look that just doesn't matter. So for me, I
Yeah.
looked at it more as a bit. I was thinking, I'm a fan. I should be the one. I should be a shoe, and I know every move. I know every hold. So I've been watching my whole life. So that's when I realized that it's really different. It's really showbiz.
Did you were you ready on your first day at Team 3D Academy? Like, had you already taken bumps before, like at Tough Enough?
I took a few bumps at Tough Enough, and my friend, and I had a friend that owned a ring, so I've rolled around in the ring at that point. I've rolled around maybe a few times. So when I went to 3D, Team 3D, I felt like I was ready, but it's one of those things where I don't know if you've heard anyone that goes to Team 3D. They're the best conditioned wrestlers I ever like. There's no way we can go there and not be conditioned. So it was that from that standpoint, I was not mentally ready for the conditioning
Okay.
because I'd played basketball, I played football. I've always been an athlete. So, but the wrestling and the wrestling conditioning that we did at 3D is something that's crazy, and it's amazing, and you're always in great shape. So
Do you
I was not ready for that standpoint. So it definitely was a wake up call for me.
regarding, okay, so like you have, that you're training and you have your
I'm
first
sorry.
match. What was that? Oh, I was just saying,
Say it one more time.
I'm sorry. Who told you you were ready for your first match? Did you say I'm ready, or did someone tell you you were ready?
Oh no. They have to tell you already. The person that really told me first that I can do a little something was Billy Gunn. So he was
Oh,
the one. He was the when I was there. He really, I mean, Devon helped me a lot. Serpentico was also on AEW. He was
okay.
also one of my trainers, and he helped me a lot. I think between Serpentico and Billy and Devon, I would say both. Billy definitely was the one that told me I'm ready, and he always took care of me. He's always showed me things. So I think Billy and Dan Serpentico are the ones that told me I'm ready to start doing matches and things like that. And Devon eventually gave me the go ahead. So those are it's all one of those things where you have to prove one thing to one person. Billy's a Hall of Famer, and then you have to prove it to another Hall of Famer, and Devon. And then you have to prove it to Serpentico, who's been wrestling for 20 years. So you just have to prove yourself over and over again in this business. That's what I realized at that time.
Have you seen your first match?
My first match, I haven't seen that first match in a long time. No, I haven't seen it. I would have to look.
Do you ever intend to?
But I've seen recent matches. Of course, yeah. I've looked at matches. One of my first matches, not my very first match. I've seen matches from a couple years ago, and I've definitely improved a lot night and day. So, but it's definitely it's amazing. It's in a couple years what you can do.
So, did you have to change your diet again, like as a pro wrestler?
You know what? I kind of did because at that point I was really so I'm like 265, 270 right now.
Okay.
So for me, I don't know, and it's something probably not good, but I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to be larger than life, and I don't nothing crazy, but I wanted to be like fit. I wanted to be the part. So at that point I was I was always been bigger and a little muscular. I was like 240 or 245 when I started. So over the last 2-3 years, I've kind of just started, eating more, eating better, but still eating more often, and more so from that. And because especially when I started being on places where there's TV or television taping and stuff like that, you want to look the best you can look in the ring. And I've always thought, for me personally, I think bigger was always, more to my benefit to be, more of a bruiser type wrestler. So I know for me, I'm not going to be able to do, especially modern wrestling. I can't do a lot of flips that a lot of these athletic
Sure.
guys can do. So I know I kind of make my money being an athletic big guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
was 240 the highest you've ever been at?
No, right now is probably I'm like 270, 265 right now.
Oh, okay.
So when I first started training, yeah. So 240 first. I was probably 240 when I first, from the first year on in wrestling. I was probably 240. It wasn't until I started like saying, okay, this is how I look on TV. I want to be a little bigger, and I started taking more, different like creatines and started being more regimented with my shakes at night and stuff like that. So stuff like that, just little things like that where you can gain a pound or two, clean without anything going crazy.
Do you ever get intimidated walking down the street at night, for example?
No, I don't. But I probably, this is a crazy world, so I don't get scared. So it's not that I don't fear, I don't fear anyone enough. So I don't bug being scared. And I have a fixed face, so I'm usually the person just walking, and I'm just going to my destination. And the thing is, I think this world is crazy, so I probably should take more. I should probably put more, be more sort of big guy macho thing. But I don't, I never feel intimidated in certain situations. I do know, for me being, a bigger black guy, I have to know being right time, right place, not being in the wrong place, the wrong time, because crazy things have happened in this world. But in terms of intimidation, I don't feel intimidation, so I just really, I'm about my business. I don't bother anyone, obviously. No one bothers me.
Yeah.
So it's more so from that standpoint.
It's funny you brought up, like, I was telling that it's a really crazy world. You never know. The other day, I had my son convinced that Avengers Infinity War was a documentary, that it was real. It just made me remember that. But then, like a couple hours later, I told him it wasn't, because he was starting to get nervous. Okay, so how do you get on AEW's radar? I know you're living up that way, anyways, right?
Right. Yes, I live in Orlando right now, so I get on AEW's radar. Yeah, I live in Orlando, and I used to live in Jacksonville, and I live in Orlando.
Okay.
That's why I moved to Orlando to be closer to 3D. That's where
nice.
I'm doing that. So now I'm in Orlando. So pretty much, I've always had a great relationship with Billy. He's he's like a mentor to me. So I pretty much got in touch with him, and he got me in touch with the QT Marshall. Those guys. So pretty much trying to get through with Billy, and I have Billy critique my matches. He's great. He's a great guy. He's a great mentor. He's a legend. He was.
Yeah.
So
and he still can go.
He's very, not even just in AEW. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a genetic. I was telling Austin, like him and his dad, the genes are so strong because his kids are talented. Colton, they all have. Billy has one of the best drop kicks in wrestling history, in my opinion. But Colton's drop kick is killer. So I'll tell them how, like, their dad's genetics are just so crazy. How they both look like their dad, and then his dad is still at 50 and mid 50s, just tearing the house down. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So
It's amazing.
Was it fun was this the first time you wrestled him on AEW Dark? Was that the first time you'd ever done a full match with him?
Yeah, officially wrestled. Yeah, full match. Because he would, when we used to train, he would, roll around with us a little bit, run spots with us. Not full on, wrestling matches, but it was really everything. It felt like everything came full circle because he's one. At that point he's a legend. I'm like, I want to get in the ring with him for real, and maybe win shows. And then I get there at the biggest show, one of the show of shows on AEW. So yeah, everything for me kind of came full. I got to wrestle Billy Gunn, so it was amazing. It was amazing.
All right, let me ask you this. So you talked to Billy Gunn. All the arrangements are made. You're gonna wrestle at AEW Dark for the first time. So you drive yourself to the arena, or where they're taping.
So Yeah, so basically that arrangement is you go, first of all, you go to Jacksonville to get your COVID test. You have to get COVID tested before you get to Jacksonville.
Okay.
You get to Jacksonville, get your COVID test. For people, I guess I don't everyone's kind of different. There's a hotel there that a lot of the wrestlers stay at.
Okay.
For me, because I went to college in Jacksonville, I know pretty much Jacksonville like the back of my hand. So I'm actually
Uh-huh.
staying with some college buddies, at this point.
Oh,
So
nice.
it depends, I'd stay in the hotel. So I guess, so for me, the first time what I did was I went there, I stayed in the hotel.
Were you
At this
nervous
point
or
I'm watching.
anxious?
I'm a wrestling very nervous a little bit, just because I would say nervous from the standpoint because it was during the pandemic and I hadn't worked in a few months from before that.
Oh, sure.
That was from more just the rust. The rust.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I hadn't been in the ring. I did a couple independent shows, but I haven't been in the ring the way I wanted to be in the ring. So, just rolling around a little bit beforehand and a little nervous. But when I got, Billy's great. He's a pro.
Uh-huh.
So we called the match, and it was very, very easy. It was very easy. So there's no nerves during the match. You just want to do the best you can, make a great impression. So you're always going to put that natural pressure on yourself, but no nervous at all. No.
Is it difficult
from
at
the
all?
standpoint
Like,
of being in the ring, no.
is it difficult? Like, you're a huge wrestling fan. Is it hard to not be like starstruck when you show up there and you see all these guys? I mean, do you have to hide it?
That's what I was telling people. Like, you had. I mean, you had it.
Uh-huh.
Because for me, I think that was in Tough Enough. When I was in Tough Enough, that was when I was starstruck. I'm seeing Triple H. I'm seeing Booker T. I see Billy Gunn was there at the time, so I saw Billy Gunn. I'm seeing all these. I see Norman Smiley. I see all these legends that I grew up watching, or that I
Yeah,
played on my video games. So that
totally.
was the most so in when yeah when in 2015 that was most so for me in Tough Enough. I was very starstruck. It wasn't until I started. I think AEW, by the time there, I'm a little more mature, So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when you see Sting, I'm talking to Sting. It's an amazing feeling. But I feel like, or seeing Big Show, Paul White, or seeing Jericho
Yeah.
backstage, it's an amazing feeling. Everything coming full circle. But I think for me, I'm trying to remain, professional because at the end of the day, you want to do, work, at a higher level. You want to be in awe, but you want to be also like you belong, So as an
Sure,
adult
sure.
now, as a grown man, that there's a level of professionalism that comes along with it. So, I've also worked, guys with the headbangers. I've worked, wrestling legends before. So had matches with the headbangers. I've had matches with Shannon. So, just work with a lot of great legends already. You guys have been there long term, so at that point, so now it's like when you're working those guys and you see a Paul White backstage or a Christian Cage, it's a little better, especially as you're older and mature. But
Sure,
and Billy's
sure.
my coach, so I'm used to guys on that level like Billy and Devon. So, but it was a change though. It was definitely something to
Yeah, oh, I
change.
bet. Okay, so when you are alone,
Yeah.
or not, like you're not wrestling, you're not training anything, do you ever like you're sitting there and say, "Oh my God, I'm a pro wrestler"? Like, can you like
It's
appreciate how
crazy.
like unique that there's not many people who have these a pro wrestler and be successful.
It Yeah, it's very different. Like even when people ask me about my job, like when I meet people, I mean, whether it's I'm in, like if I'm in a bar or something, or I'm just meeting someone in the gym and
Sure.
we start talking about our jobs, and I tell them I'm a wrestler. It definitely catches people off. They're like, what? And like, I've never met anyone that does wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like telling someone you do such a crazy out there job. So it definitely is very weird saying I'm a wrestler, a pro wrestler, and people always ask you, well, where can I see your matches and stuff like that. So I tell them there's stuff on YouTube, and then they see,
Yeah.
it's very crazy, very crazy. Everything comes full circle. It's amazing.
So is it hard? Well, I know that that obviously the pandemic, is it difficult to book yourself for the rest of this year, or like make long-term bookings?
Uh, a little. It's there's a place I try and make my schedule, especially with AEW. I try and work my schedule around if I'm doing AEW first and foremost. So my booking schedule mostly or with AEW TV days, I want to make sure I'm free for that,
Sure.
first and foremost. So and then with the pandemic, because there's protocols for me when I go to AEW. I make sure I haven't. They want to know you haven't been in just out and about with COVID. You know what I mean? There's different protocols you have to do. I mean, I definitely love working as much as I can. I work a lot on weekends in this or Central Florida area, even South Florida. I do a lot of stuff because Florida's been open. Florida's been open since since July actually. So it's easier to find work here. I haven't been doing anything too much anywhere else. And I mean, there's one show I went to in Georgia. Pretty much north. I don't know. I'm pretty much staying here in Florida until things clear with the pandemic, and then obviously my AEW commitments if they're there at the time. So it's a balance. So definitely balance it.
Do you get calls from your family after like each time you're on TV? Do you get like a stream of calls?
My family, I'm on Instagram, so people always blow up my Instagram. Anytime, whether I'm in a match that's 2 minutes, I'm in a match that's 10 minutes or 8 minutes, whatever, I always get a bunch of people, friends and family, and people that I don't even know follow me and say really nice things to me about wrestling. So it's very different. It's very cool.
I bet your doctor relatives. I bet your doctor relatives, they're like, we went to school for 10 years. Give us some credit,
No, they definitely, I talk to them. I'm very close with them too.
Okay. Oh, that's great. It sounds like you have a very good family network that not a lot of people have that.
Definitely.
Especially, I'm jealous of how you were saying that you've watched wrestling with all these members of your family. I'd love to have done that.
Of course.
I'm going to let you go. I know it's a Monday evening. Can I ask you 5 yes and no questions that have nothing to do with wrestling?
Sure, of course.
Okay. Have you ever fallen asleep on a train and woke up and you had no idea where you were?
No.
Okay. Do you sleep with more than one pillow?
Yes.
Okay. For $13 million, would you eat a small house cat? $13 million.
Oh, man. Can I cook the cat?
I'll tell you this.
Yes.
You can prepare it.
No, I'll definitely. I'm not going to. No.
Okay.
Definitely. Yes, I'll eat the cat.
Smart. Is there somewhere that you've been that you're embarrassed to tell anyone else that you have been to?
Let me see. No. Nothing I would be embarrassed about. No.
Okay. And finally, you've gotten everything right so far. Is there any situation where you would date or marry someone who's in their 90s?
90s. Who's
I mean, you wouldn't have to be married or attached to them for very long, I imagine. Just the rules of biology.
And I don't think I'll go down that road. Not even too much of a cooker for me.
Smart. That was the correct answer. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was fun listening to you talk. What was I going to say? Do you have any appearances that you know of coming up? Where you're going to be wrestling?
Yes. So I will be at. Yes, I will be at Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. We're Atomic. We're on Fight TV now, so we're doing really good. Atomic. I'll be there April 16th in Melbourne. I forgot the name of the Marriott at Melbourne on the 16th. Gangrel, the Ascension, formerly known as Ascension, they're known as the Awakening now. They'll be at the show. Who else? Shannon Moore will be there.
Cool.
Wes Briscoe. Alton Badu will be there, but Yes, I will be there on the 16th, and I shall be. I'm not sure what I'm doing for WrestleMania, but I should be doing some. We'll be doing some scouting in the Tampa area.
Oh, okay. So, do you look forward to WrestleMania still?
I do. I'm not one of those people just because I've been at AEW more so. Because it's not like I'm under, like a contract with AEW. So I'm there, and when I'm at AEW, I watch all wrestling. So I watch all products
Sure.
of wrestling, whether it's WrestleMania or AEW pay-per-views. I watch NWA. I
Oh,
watch
okay, cool.
MLW. I consume all wrestling because it's all different and all great, and it's core. So yes, I definitely will be paying attention to WrestleMania. Because you could always learn something. At this point, you're learning something. You're trying to get better, and everyone there is the best at what they do. So there's something you can always.
Yeah.
I've been in the business for a couple of years, so you can always get better and learn something from someone else.
Well, I will be doing the same. Do you care about the 2-night format, or do you prefer the 1-night format?
Ooh, I prefer the 1-night format just because of the tradition.
Yeah, totally.
I think 2 nights is I was really big this year, so because I prefer 1 night though for sure. I'd rather have one long night than 2 nights.
Yeah.
It's a little tougher. Some of it's harder to digest 2 nights. So
yeah, on your schedule and everything. Well, I enjoyed talking to you. The only thing that I want you to take away from this interview, literally, the only thing is don't have children. Okay? At least into your late 30s. People say, "Oh, it's the most wonderful thing in the world." I'm selfish. It's not as fun as when you don't have kids. I'm just throwing that out there, something for you to think about. All right. Well, take care. I hope you stay safe and healthy, and hopefully we can talk down the road.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. It's been an honor.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You take care. We'll talk soon.